हेलो गाइज, वेलकम बैक टू माई चैनल अगेन। तो आज हम देखेंगे एक डिबेट वीडियो जो हुआ था ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनियन में, और टॉपिक था क्या गॉड डिल्यूजन है, यानी कि क्या भगवान भ्रम है। तो इस पर जवाब देने के लिए इंडिया से अमित त्रिपाठी जी को बुलाया गया था, जो कि एक जाने माने ऑथर है, जिन्होंने द ऑथ ऑफ वायुपुत्र, सीक्रेट ऑफ नागाज और द इमोर्टल ऑफ म्यूला जैसे काफ़ी सारे फेमस बुक्स लिखे हैं। और अब वो किस तरह से जवाब देते हैं, तो आइए देखते हैं।
Thank you for inviting me here.
This house
How
believes
you see
that
the
God
world is
is a
often defined
delusion.
by where you come from. Now, I'm a Hindu. Hinduism is most probably among the most ancient living religions on earth. And
सही है।
Hinduism is a part of the Dharmic group of religions, which also includes Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism.
Sikhism.
In many ways, our worldview is fundamentally different from the Abrahamic group of religions. The Abrahamic group, as you all know, is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Islam.
It could be argued that Western atheism, which emerged as a reaction to the Abrahamic religions, also has many of the features of Abrahamic religions. So, how is our worldview, the Dharmic worldview, different? One of the key things is we don't see the world in binaries, good, evil, black, white. We don't see the world that way. We see it in shades of grey. So from this perspective,
सही है।
how do we answer this question that God is a delusion? The question itself is incomplete for two reasons. The first is that according to Hindu philosophy, anything that has a beginning and an end is temporary and hence an illusion. The Sanskrit word for it is Maya.
Maya.
So therefore everything, including the universe, because it does have an end date, is an illusion, which makes this entire debate itself infructuous. But there's a second concept of reality of Hinduism that I'm more interested in. It says that anything that has a purpose and function is real, even if it's intangible. Now, let me explain the second concept a bit more. We've all heard of Carl Sagan, obviously. Carl Sagan had said that all our bodies are made up of water, calcium, and organic molecules. This is a scientific fact.
Correct.
Now, if you pick an amount of water, calcium, and organic molecules of the right proportion and throw it under a bus, nothing will change. Nothing will happen to the bus or those elements. But I'm not about to jump under a bus, very obviously, right? Even though my body is made up of that exact proportion of the list of elements that Carl Sagan had listed. Why? Because I'm not exactly just the elements that make up my body. There's something extra within me. And that something extra
वो तो है।
gives purpose to the elements that make up my body. Therefore, I have a purpose for now. Therefore, I'm not an illusion.
Everyone has purpose.
For now. That's the way it is with me. That's the way it is with all of us. And that is the way it is with God. If God has a purpose, then God is real.
Correct.
So is the real question perhaps not whether God has a purpose? Is the real question that why does the West not feel a need for the purpose of God anymore? Or to calibrate a bit, why do most Westerners not feel the need
Mostly now.
for God anymore? I think maybe the answer for that is in the tortured relationship that Abrahamic religions have with science, or more broadly, knowledge. Any scientific truth that is in conflict with Abrahamic faith can be called as blasphemy. And that
हाँ, तो वो
sets
तो
up that
blasphemy
magnificent
कहलाया
world,
जाता है
right?
ना उनका तो।
Abrahamics and God on the one side and science on the other.
Yeah.
And you have to pick one side.
They can't be merged.
have both.
Right.
How does Hinduism see this debate? Well, first of all, Hinduism does not have a doctrinal concept.
Hinduism
of
is a Sanatan Dharma.
So there is no scientific truth that I have to deny to prove that I am a good Hindu. Simply the concept of blasphemy doesn't exist. But even
Exactly.
more, Hinduism has a different relationship with knowledge. Let me explain that through, taking you to the book of Genesis. And all of you are aware of the Garden of Eden, right? Broadly, what the story was. God punished Adam and Eve because they ate from the forbidden fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Correct? Everyone knows that? And most Abrahamic religious scholars say that good and evil was a metaphor for everything. So therefore, essentially, Adam and Eve were punished because they ate an apple from the tree of the knowledge of everything. Now, I'm not deriding this philosophy. Knowledge, if you're not prepared for it, is often a path to unhappiness and destruction. And it can be argued that you see a lot of evidence of that in the modern West today. So, if your purpose is primarily to just simply be happy, then maybe it's a good idea to avoid knowledge. Innocence is bliss, right? Yeah. It's a fair call, right? Just remain innocent, remain happy. How does Hinduism see the relationship with knowledge? Hindu philosophy does acknowledge the risks of knowledge, but still tells us to go for it. To put it in terms that you may understand, Hindus wouldn't be told, don't eat that apple. In fact, we would be told, go for the entire freaking tree. But what we would also be told, that before you go for that tree, prepare yourself
for the consequences or something.
That knowledge.
Yeah.
This is essentially the concept of karma and dharma. Learn, evolve, so that you can handle that knowledge and then learn some more. And keep learning till you learn everything that there is to learn, till you have consumed that entire tree. Then you become God. You attain nirvana. I'm sure that's a term that most of you would have heard of, right? Nirvana. This is what the concept of nirvana is. You keep growing, keep learning, keep evolving, till you learn everything that there is to know. And then you become divine because you attain nirvana.
Like Buddha.
Now from this philosophical construct, what is the purpose of God? God is not supposed to be a strict father who keeps you in line for your own happiness. No. In the dharmic way, in the Hindu way, God is supposed to be like a witness or a guide who guides you on how to acquire knowledge without messing up your own life. Which is why you'll find that it's very, very common in India to be religious and scientific at the same time.
Same time.
How many of you read about the Indian space scientist who sent a probe to the moon? Everyone's aware of that? Yeah, we sent a probe to the moon. The cost of that project was cheaper than a Hollywood movie on that project, right? But the scientists, and many don't know this, that the scientists who prepared that probe and that rocket, before launch, they took the components of that rocket to a temple to pray to it. They saw no contradiction in it. Unlike Western atheists who very often feel the deep need to insult religion to prove their scientific temper. The divine can be male, female, or transgender, and allows, even expects human beings to question him or her, as Lord Krishna did in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm primarily an author. In the books that I write, I openly criticize and question the caste system. I write of powerful women.
Caste system
I have gay and transgender characters in my books. My books, by God's grace, actually sell in reasonably high numbers. You won't find any controversy around me. Because in the Hindu way, there is an openness to multiple truths. There is an openness to multiple paths to the divine. If I may complete, please. In some ways, then, this debate is similar to the debate that's taking place over artificial intelligence. From what I have read, not that I know Elon Musk personally, but from what I have read, apparently, Elon Musk is concerned about the risks of AI and is therefore hesitating. Whereas Sam Altman is, going all guns blazing, wants to forge ahead, right? In the Hindu way, the opportunity of AI would be seen, but the risks of it would also be acknowledged, right? So perhaps, it cannot be denied that AI almost has the power of God. Do we have the ability to wield that power? Do our societies have the ability to handle the consequences of something like this?
हाँ का consequences तो होगा ही
Everyone
होगा।
knows what this gesture
पीछे
is.
जाके,
Yeah, it's
आगे
namaste.
जाके, पीछे नहीं आगे।
Most Westerners erroneously translate namaste to mean hello. That's not the actual meaning. In Sanskrit,
Same.
namaste means I bow
Bow
to the divine
to the
within
divine
you.
within you.
Now, this is a statement of humility. I am bowing. But it's also a challenge to you. Discover the divine within you. That is the challenge that Hinduism puts up.
सही आपके अंदर ही
If I
भगवान
may
है
just
ना?
complete, I'm almost at the end, right? If you find purpose, you will discover that God exists within you, and your task over this life and multiple lives is to grow, evolve, learn some more, and become God. God is not a delusion because you are God. You are a potential God. You
Right.
are all potential gods. You just don't know it yet. What you have to do is find your purpose, and you will discover that you and God are in fact very real. And that's it. If there's a namaste, once again, is there time? I'll answer that point of. Who had that? Yes, sir. Where are you? Sorry. Yeah, hi.
Even if we are
Oh no, dharmics don't believe in exclusivism at all. But carry on to your question.
How does that still reasonably conclude that God is not a delusion, or on a digression, that God exists?
Good question. Look, it's like this. One of the things that in fact, this debate happened in one of our Upanishads. One of the things that we can be sure of is that we'll only know the truth when we die, right? So essentially, we have theories which explain facts as we see it today, right? That's actually what theoretical physics is also. At many large levels, I'm sure you've heard of dark energy, dark matter. No one really knows what it truly is, but just it's a theoretical placeholder to explain facts as we see it today, right? What is the theory that might create a better society today and might explain facts as we see it today, right? That's what essentially this is. Can we claim that that this is the absolute truth? No Hindu ever claims that. There is no concept of absolute truth in the dharmic way, right? All of us have an ability and a freedom and a right to find our own path. Many of the schools of philosophy in the Hindu way, I'm sure you're aware, are actually atheist schools. They're still Hindu, right? Or Buddhists or Jains can be atheist and Buddhist Jain at the same time. Faith is not central, right? Accepting the principles of the argument of cause and effect, that is central to the dharmic religion. So is this the theory that explains facts as we see it most well? I would argue it is. But does that mean it's the absolute truth? No. We'll only know when we attain nirvana or when we die. So how do we not know? Well, we are still here, so we don't know. Right? Have you read the Nasadiya hymn in the Rig Veda? Okay. Anyone who hasn't, there's a Nasadiya hymn in the Rig Veda. If I have time, if I can just explain that. It's a creation hymn. Okay? And you want to understand a really deep creation hymn, read Nasadiya because it doesn't make any truth claims. It says, maybe this is how creation happened, or maybe this is how creation happened, or maybe this is how creation happened. The most magical are the last 4 lines of the Nasadiya hymn. That who can know for sure how creation happened? Even the gods wouldn't know, because even the gods were created after creation happened. And then the hymn goes on to say, maybe the only one who knows is the one most high. Or maybe even he doesn't know. And in Sanskrit, they don't use the term he, because the Brahman is actually beyond gender. So you can use it, she, he, whatever, right? Maybe he's the only one who knows, or maybe even he doesn't know. That's a skepticism at the heart of the Rig Veda, which is the oldest dharmic religion. Because no one can know for sure. You have to have supreme arrogance to say, I know what the truth is. No one can know for sure. Right? Okay. If there's no other point of order, I guess I'm done. Thank you.
काफ़ी अच्छी तरह से जवाब दिया है। सच्ची में नमस्ते का जो एक्सप्लेन किया है ना, काफ़ी अच्छी तरह से किया है। क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द वेस्टर्नर्स यही सोचते हैं कि नमस्ते का मतलब है हाय हेलो, लेकिन हमें पता है कि नमस्ते का मतलब है कि आपके अंदर के ईश्वर को मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ और आप भी उसको ढूंढने की कोशिश करें। तो उस नमस्ते का मतलब, तो ये डिबेट काफ़ी अच्छा है, मुझे काफ़ी अच्छा लगा। और जिस तरह से पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू और जिस तरह से उन्होंने आंसर दिया है कि गॉड डिल्यूजन नहीं हो सकता, प्रूव कर दिया कि, तो हम लोग हिंदुज़म यानी कि सनातन धर्म में अगर आप एथिस्ट भी हो तो फिर भी आपको ब्लास्फेमी नहीं लगाया जाता, यानी कि आप ब्लास्फेमी के शिकार नहीं हो सकते। अगर आप और धर्म में देखें तो अगर आपने उसमें कुछ कर दिया, जैसे कि इस्लाम में आपने कुछ बोल दिया उसके ऊपर, उनके गॉड के ऊपर, तो आपको काफ़ी सारे ब्लास्फेमी के इल्ज़ाम लगाया जाता है और काफ़ी सारी घटनाएं भी हो चुका है ऐसा। मगर ऐसा नहीं है। सनातन धर्म में आप ईश्वर को भी, आप एथिस्ट भी बन के भी आप क्वेश्चन कर सकते हो। जैसे कि महाभारत, समथिंग महाभारत में, जब महाभारत होगा उसमें जब भगवान के बारे में कुछ लाइफ के बारे में कुछ बोल रहा था, तो उस टाइम में वो लोग आफ्टर लाइफ क्या होगा वो बात कर रहा होता है। क्या था, युधिष्ठिर और सभी लोग मिलके, तो उसमें एक एथिस्ट होते हैं, एक आदमी होता है जो पूछता है कि उसके बाद बोलता है कि ये लाइफ है, उसके बाद कुछ और दूसरा लाइफ नहीं है। तो फिर भी उनको कुछ नहीं करता क्योंकि उसका भी समान होता है, क्योंकि वो क्वेश्चन भी वो लोग मान लेते हैं और उसका भी चिंतन मनन करते हैं। ऐसे काफ़ी सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं जो इंसानों को हमें पढ़ना चाहिए। और हमारे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हम लोग अलग अलग तरीके के भगवान मानते हैं और अलग अलग हमारा जो भगवान के ऊपर विश्वास है वो अलग अलग तरीके से है। जैसे कि हम लोग शिवा मानने वाले लोग शिवा के हिसाब से मानते हैं, गणेश मानते हैं, गणेश मानने वाले गणेश के भक्त जो है वो दूसरे तरह से भगवान पूजते और मानते हैं। तो अलग अलग है, फिर भी सबका जो एट द एंड एट द लास्ट में क्या होता है कि सब लोग का उनका जो पाथ है वो अलग अलग है, लेकिन जो पाथ तो अलग अलग है, लेकिन जो लास्ट में जो मोक्ष है वो सबका एक ही है। तो मोक्ष कैसा मिलेगा, लेकिन पाथ जो अलग अलग है फिर भी मोक्ष के लिए एक ही जगह जाना है, वो ऐसा सोचते हैं। तो इंडिया इज़ अ लैंड ऑफ सीकर्स भी कहते हैं। तो काफ़ी बढ़िया है, मुझे काफ़ी अच्छा लगा ये डिबेट। काफ़ी सारे पॉइंट्स रखे सनातन धर्म की तरफ से, तो काफ़ी अच्छा, माइंड ब्लोइंग। If you are watching this video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.